2 years ago, I was hospitalized. I was hospitalized many times consecutively, and I won't go into that whole story, but what I'm saying to you, my point of this video is about our institutions and how dangerous they have become. And how I've come to realize that the deeper in bed someone is with these institutions, and so far as I'm concerned, the more suspect they are and the less I can trust them. Of course, there are good people in every realm of society, okay? We all need to use our discernment and our common sense and our hearts and our minds together. We shouldn't go around making broad sweeping statements about any segment of the population. But it is a fact that our institutions are corrupt, and that anyone that works for them and therefore has their livelihood tied up in them and invested in the institutions, they're going to have every incentive to not listen to their own hearts and minds and to gaslight themselves, because to actually wake up to the truth of what is going on would mean in many instances people would lose their entire lives. They would lose their income, their homes, their medical insurance, which isn't good for shit these days, except for ending up with cancer when you ain't really got it. Okay, it's all fucking corrupt. But people are attached to it because we are all on government assistance. Nobody knows how to take care of themselves anymore. And in this country, everybody's supposed to be aiming to be like the fucking psychopaths in charge, okay? So, my experience has been that when I hit rock bottom, when I was at my most vulnerable, the people that threw me under the fucking bus and threw me the dogs were the people that worked for the institution. People I'd known my entire fucking life. Like, for instance, I ended up going on Prozac because of a really deep spell of depression, which was normal. It was because of life circumstances. What I needed was friends. What I needed was community. And I found myself alone and desperate, and nobody had time for me. So I went on medicine because of that, okay? Against my own belief system. I've never been into treating things in that way. But I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't function. Things were spiraling. So against my better judgment, I went on it, and then I had all the worst extreme side effects you could possibly fucking get. I checked myself into a hospital, a mental hospital, because of that, where they refused to listen to me. They forced me on more medications, treating the symptoms of their medications. And it was a downward spiral straight into the depths of hell from there. Akathisia, anhedonia, suicidal ideation, and attempt on my own life. All because of the psychosis that was brought on by antipsychotics that were forced into my body as I was tied down, as I was held down, as I was psychologically and physically abused inside of mental hospitals. Several of them. And in the middle of it all, I told my friend what had been done to me. I had brain damage because of it. I couldn't sit still because of the anhedonia. I was in hell and still alive and suffering. Just suffering. And that's why people delete themselves, okay? Nobody really wants to do that, but there are worse things than death, I have to tell you. There are. It's called being tortured alive. At some point, someone's going to tap out, and a lot of people that find themselves on these candies that are given and doled out by hospitals and doctors, they find themselves being tortured from the inside out by their own brain that has been rewired, and in many instances blown a fuse, or their brain is melting down because they're having a chemical lobotomy and they can't remember, they can't think straight, they have internal terror, they can't move their body. All of these things happen to me. And I told my friend this. What had been done to me by these doctors in these hospitals, and how as a result of that I couldn't live that way anymore. I didn't want to live that way anymore. Okay, and this person threw me back to the wolves, to the people that I said had hurt me, that had tortured me, that had drugged me against my will, because she worked for the institutions, the educational system, and her role in the education system is psychology. Okay? And so according to her, she had me thrown into another mental institution where it started all over, where I was incredibly vulnerable because I was brain damaged and already suicidal and walking in circles. And this person threw me back, walked away, and has never spoken to me again, and acts like I don't fucking exist. And her reasoning was, which I wasn't even told, she told my family, was this has to be done because I know that she has said that she doesn't want to live this way anymore, and therefore by law I have to do this, like be a part of putting her away, or I can lose my job. So instead of being a real friend and sitting down with me and making a plan with my friends and family and making sure that I was never again subjected to the things that had caused my condition, this person had me thrown back into the fucking den of snakes because she didn't want to take a chance at losing her job. And that's the position we're being put in these days with the jab. How many people lost their jobs because they refused to give in? Big round of applause for them for not kneeling a fucking knee and licking a boot of a tyrant. But that's what's happened with our institutions. They've become tyrannical. They're run by tyrants. And they will say to you, if you work for them, well, you don't do what I say, you'll lose it all. That's what they're doing. And I was a victim of that. And I got people telling me, don't talk about it, you sound like a victim. Well, I was a fucking victim. And there's lots of victims out there. And I don't have a victim mentality, which is why I'm speaking. A victim puts their tail between their legs and walks away with their head held low in shame. Well, I'm not ashamed of other people's cowardice. It's not my fault. I ended up sick because of a sick system. And I'm very well aware of that. I don't own it. It's the system that needs to change, not us. It's not us. Not human beings. You're trying to turn us into robots, into slaves, into mindless fucking drones. And they're doing a good job. Be careful who you trust because it's getting worse out there. We have the ability to make a change, but you can't make a change unless you acknowledge what the fuck's going on and you live in reality. I'm tired of all the toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing bullshit. I'm tired of it. I've cut out everyone in my life who spits that line at me. You create your own reality. Don't be negative. You create your own problems. Bull fucking shit. The world does not revolve around any one of us. We are co-creators. We are powerful, yes. But what I do affects you and what you do affects me. And let's start taking some accountability for that. There are people rotting away in what are called hospitals that are actually fucking prisons where they're shoving pills down people's throats to keep them asleep and docile and malleable. They're little pill puppets. That's what they see us as. These people in hospitals locked away against their will that have lost their entire fucking lives to the sick system. Guys, it's going on. It's an epidemic. It's not being talked about. It's being hidden. People are having their hands tied, their mouths taped. People are being accused of misinformation. Their channels are getting shut down. I lost my channel with 450 videos because I was talking about all this stuff. Be careful who you trust. Because people are real attached to their pretty things, their houses, their cars, their luxuries. People are lazy. People want convenience. And if something threatens that and you get in the way of that, well, they will throw you under the bus lickety split. Many people. We've been trained into being that way so that we will be obedient. Well, I don't mind anybody but my God. And my God tells me to speak the truth, whatever the cost. And the most beautiful thing about my experience is that I have nothing left to fucking lose. And they already decided to call me crazy, so I ain't scared of that. You call me whatever the fuck you want. I'm happy to be called a lunatic in a world such as this that has gone fucking insane. Guys, be careful. There's a lot of people out there that only care about themselves. And they're living in fear. And scared people do desperate things. They do bad things. A lot of people that went along with the fucking Nazis, they just said, oh, well, it was my job. Like, what else was I gonna do? I don't know. Maybe fucking stand up for what's right. And don't be a fucking coward. It's the only way that we can make a real positive change. You want to be positive? Acknowledge reality and do the hard fucking thing. Or you can stand around and play your fucking fiddle while Rome burns down, because that's what's happening. And you ain't going to put out a fire that you don't acknowledge exists.